Yo, and welcome back to my episodic breakdown of the Twisted Metal series. If y'all haven't seen my previous episodes on 1 and 2, what are you doing, dude? Go watch it. But I want to add one thing that I missed real quick and say a little disclaimer. So in the first episode, when he was in the abandoned mall, he said,
"Like a goddamn maze in here."
That was most likely a nod to Minion's maze from Twisted Metal 4. I know it's a stretch, but I honestly wouldn't put it past the show. And last thing, I have not seen any episode past episode 5 at the time of this recording, and it's gonna be like that from here on out. I do that so my reactions can be more genuine for you all. So yeah, just keep that in mind whenever I say things, and if you can, try not to put any spoilers in the comments, because I most likely still haven't seen the whole show yet. Alright, let's get to it. 3 to 5. The third episode starts with a flashback from Agent Stone's life, showing us what happened once everything started. It also showed that he was considered a loser, working as a mall cop that claimed to be a real cop, and was assumed to be flirting with these two girls. One of them with the yellowest teeth, by the way, golly. It then cuts to Roadkill and Quiet being captured after they were tased. They bring him into the outpost, which used to be a DMV, and they both get taken prisoner. Mike starts to idolize Agent Stone and appears to be really buddy-buddy with Agent Shepard, which rubs Stu the wrong way. Stu finds a map to New Chicago and gives it to Agent Shepard. John and Quiet fight while they try to figure out how to get out until Agent Stone and Shepard comes in. John turns on the charm and almost ends up leaving until Quiet spits on his face, and holy crap, it was so disgusting, jeez. But he killed her brother, so hey, understandable. Stone asked John how he got the map, and he said, "Nah, I ain't talking." Agent Stone said, "Okay, bet," and puts them through various torture techniques to get the information out of him, which includes, but not limited to, filling out hundreds of forms, water torture, listening to the Barbie song on maximum volume, and so much more. During the torturing, Stu starts to see that Mike is really enjoying this stuff a little too much, and at the end of it, they end up getting nothing out of John. Then we get another flashback in Agent Stone's life, and at the beginning of the pandemic, which is what I'm gonna call it, by the way. Like, if it's offensive to anybody, let me know in the comments, but it's just easier. But yeah, it showed once it happened, he gets robbed by his neighbors because he was always an asshole. John finally learns Quiet's story from Agent Stone, and they get sent to the Red Line by Stu. Stone then decides to go to their headquarters in Topeka and remembers that his dad was also a cop, just like in Twisted Metal Black and Twisted Metal Lost. While waiting for their turn on the Red Line, Quiet starts to really get behind what Roadkill stands for and his mission. Stu escorts them down the Red Line, and it turns out that thing just leads to a cliff and tries to make them jump until he ultimately gets convinced to leave with them. They start making their escape, and Quiet leaves the group to get her revenge. Another flashback happens with Stone, and it reveals that he really was not just a normal loser, but like, this dude was a local loser. And I don't know why, I don't have a problem with mall cops, I like Paul Blart, he was cool. He gets word that people were stealing from a local store, and he goes to check it out. And you gotta respect that, at least a little bit. It turns out that the robbers are just other store owners just trying to feed their families. Oh, and by the way, the lightning around him could be either just how that place is, or it could be a nod to his Omni Taser special from the games. He begins to get clowned by the dads and store owners, and he gets so mad that he shoots him in cold blood. He also ends up killing a kid, sadly, and instead of owning up to it, he instead blames them. This is the birth of how his mind started to get twisted. Quiet finds Agent Shepard choking his chicken like this dude's really going at it, and kills him in the most embarrassing way, which is something he really deserved, low-key.
Nice.
John and Stu find his car, Quiet joins them, and they leave, but Stu gets left behind because Evelyn over here had a vendetta towards him or something. And yeah, even though Roadkill wanted Stu to join, John says okay, and he says his goodbyes, and they both leave to New Chicago. And it ends with Mike finding Stu, and it shows where his real loyalties lie.
If you ain't with us, you're against us.
Then we get to episode 4, and it starts with John trying to play knock-knock jokes with Quiet to pass the time. But she is not having it.
Knock knock.
No, nigga! Until luckily for her, they get interrupted by the Darkside gang, which is so cool, by the way. 4 big rigs box them in while driving and capture them. And it was so cool and coordinated. This vehicle is named Darkside, and it made its debut in Twisted Metal 1, and has been in every single game except for Twisted Metal 2 and 4. Until Dollface took the reins in Black, the previous driver Mr. Ash has always been mysterious. He never wished for anything and his motivations are always unknown. So it makes sense that they chose Darkside's vehicle for this kind of thing, if they didn't know how to bring Dollface into the story. And I'm pretty sure Mr. Ash is gonna be in the next season.
I hope so.
Okay.
Once abducted, Twister from Twisted Metal Head On greets them. Her name is Miranda Watts, and she originally entered the tournament to wish for her sister, Amanda Watts from Twisted Metal 2, to be alive and well again, which didn't turn out so good for her. But in this, she's the newfound leader of the Darkside gang, and that's really cool to see. They reveal that the rigs can turn into a convoy, which is something I've never seen before, by the way. That's so cool. And they're being shown around until Granny Dread, another legend from Twisted Metal 3, comes in and tries to scam him. But Roadkill sees right through her. And by the way, she is the most vulgar old woman in the world. Like listen to this.
You did that while driving? Sometimes she gotta throw it in reverse.
Granny Dread's goal in Twisted Metal 3 was to knock out all of the other contestants just so she could enjoy his shows. Roadkill and Granny make a deal. He does a run to pick up some medicine for her, and he gets the blood missile in return. Fun fact, the blood missile is Roadkill's alternate special from Twisted Metal 2012. And I believe other people can use that too, but I'm not too sure. They make their way to the place that has the medicine, and it turns out to be Amber Rose. No, not that one. The one from Twisted Metal 3. I love how they're pulling characters from pretty much every single game so far. I really like that a lot. I do wonder what happened to Amanda Watts though, but maybe she's in season 2 if they have one. Her goal in that game was to make the whole world covered with flowers, which ends up backfiring on her. She almost kills them until they reveal that they're there for Granny Dread, and she lets them go. She then expresses that she lives alone because she had a falling out with Twister, and that the medicine that they're looking for is just a normal flower. While leaving, they almost get caught by the Holy Men, a group of men led by the Preacher, I'm pretty sure, and I'll get to that whenever they come up. And in order to not get caught, they hide in an abandoned movie theater, where their relationship starts evolving from a bitter acquaintanceship? Acquaintanceship, is that a word? From bitter acquaintances to an actual friendship that could be more. And this is really cool to see. Like, there's such genuine moments that make you respect the characters and actors a lot more. And it was a nice change of pace from all the jokes. I really wonder if they're gonna get together or not. They wake up and Miss Quiet is starting to like what she sees a lot more. Until he washes her jacket, which makes her furious, and she stops talking to her. The reason she's mad is because he washed away her brother's scent. They deliver the flowers back to Granny, and it's revealed that she's gonna die no matter what anyone does. But she's okay with that. She expresses that she loved her life and the people in it. She says her goodbyes, gives Quiet a sex book and John the blood missile, and she dies. They hold a funeral for her, talking about her accomplishments in life before and after the world went crazy, and sends her off in a bang with a car that's completely different from her video game counterpart. It shows Twister again, and we see her helmet up close, and it's a little different from the games. The biggest difference being that the white part is missing from the middle of her helmet. We also see the blueprints of her car on the wall, and it looks to be the same body type as the games, of course, which is great. She starts to realize the things and the people in her life that are important to her, and uncovers that beast of a car, and I cannot wait to see how the full thing looks. And when it comes to the design, I can't really see anything, of course, but it looks like they're doing their own thing, drawing inspiration from the first Twisted Metal's decal placements, and keeping her traditional colors from Head On for the most part. He calls up Amber, actually calling her Flower Power, which is pretty cool, and they patch things up. John and Quiet do the same thing, and they decide to leave to Topeka, the place her and her brother always wanted to go. Episode 5 starts with them robbing the people that robbed them, and they connect over music and knife throwing. They share a tender moment until Quiet drugs them and decides to go to Topeka alone.
Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
Her goal being to take down Agent Stone once and for all, and she just didn't want him to be caught up in it. Which is pretty sweet in a crazy way. Then cuts to Agent Stone in Topeka, and he's ordering Carl and Jamie Roberts to find Roadkill and Quiet, and it's so freaking cool to see them. They look just like how they look in Twisted Metal 2 and Head On. And it's so cool that they're here because they have the most interesting stories in the games. Carl made his debut in the first Twisted Metal game to rid the world from Twisted Metal once and for all, but ends up getting trapped in space by Calypso. Jamie didn't come in until the second game, and her goal was to save her brother from space, which, by the way, I don't know how the heck he survived up there, but he did. And Jamie knew that Calypso was gonna send her up there as well, so she modified her car so they can get back to Earth. In the third game though, they just lose their job, and in Head On, Jamie gets completely messed over. It's a mess, but they're one of the only people in the game that had an ongoing story, and that's what I love about them. They say okay, and it shows Sweet Tooth going to the same outpost that houses Mike and Stu, and causes a huge mess. He gets asked for an open road license from a guard, and he kills him and goes on his merry way inside. Quiet sneaks into Topeka and starts hallucinating her brother Loud into the car. He tries to talk her out of killing Stone, but she does not want to listen. Stu is waiting in the waiting room for the red line because he's considered a traitor, and right when it's his turn, Sweet Tooth comes in and kills everybody, saving him and all of the other people in the process. Roadkill wakes back up with Herbert the Pervert over here trying to get busy with him. And he ends up killing himself, which, yeah, you deserve that. Suicide is still wrong though, guys, don't do it. He reads the note that Quiet left on his car and understands why she did what she did, and leaves. While leaving, he starts to miss her though, and understands her more. Quiet's trying to find Agent Stone in Topeka, and while talking to her brother, she starts to miss the time she had with him, and begins to realize the feelings she has for Roadkill. She then stumbles upon a statue of Agent Stone and gets stopped by Jamie and Carl Roberts. Quiet floors it, and that begins a car chase. Sweet Tooth and Stu bond and form a friendship over them both being big guys, and both of their names starting with an S. Stu sees Mike hiding and decides not to rat him out like Mike did to him. Agent Stone starts talking about what he wants out of life and decides to take on Quiet for herself. And at that time, Quiet starts to realize the real meaning behind her brother's death and decides to leave Topeka until Agent Stone starts instigating and she gets convinced by him to take him on. Sweet Tooth and Stu decide to leave the outpost together, with ST showing him how to survive this crazy world, and Stu handling the things he doesn't want to do, which is like figure out where to go, and things like that. The people that he rescued also starts to follow him. Outlaw and Quiet's battle starts, and it was so cool, with Stone's car looking just like how it did in Black.
Barely.
And I love that, with Carl and Jamie Roberts having the original cop cars from the games. And it ends with Quiet getting beaten, but saved by Roadkill at the last minute, which marks the end of episode 5. So far, I am really loving where they're taking these characters, like, it's so legit. Stu gets a plus for me for being a real one, like, forget Mike, bro, like, you're telling me that you've known him for that long, you even feel bad whenever Shepard was clowning him, and you still couldn't stay loyal? L-mans, like, bro. But I mean, at the same time, dude did try to leave him all alone, and that probably made Mike mad, and that's understandable. I really wonder if Stu would have told Mike that he was leaving. So maybe I'll take back that L for Mike soon, but who knows? I still haven't made it past episode 5 yet. Sweet Tooth was as good as always. Like, every time I see him, I get so excited because he's just so legit in this show. Like, I swear, add the flaming hair and he might just be my favorite iteration, to be honest. I also really enjoyed Granny Dread. Like, I didn't think I would, but I did. She's just so horny and vulgar, but her voice is so entertaining.
Well, shit.
And Twister was cool as well, and it looks like her and Flower Power might have had a little more than a friendship. Not really much I can say about those two, like, they're legit to me. John and Quiet's dynamic is great, and I really just want to see them, like, get together. I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen at the end of the series or something, but I really want to see that. And the car fights are impeccable to me. Sucks that they don't show it all the time, but it's understandable, you know what I mean? But yeah, I honestly can't get enough. Like, I'm like J. Cole or something.
Can't get enough.
I would have definitely loved to see Mr. Ash or Dollface in the show though, instead of like a Darkside gang, but I'm not mad at it. I just really like that they're pulling from pretty much every game. Like Twisted Metal 3, that's pretty cool. That's all I gotta say about this one. I'd give these 3 episodes especially the 4th episode with Twister and A. And yeah, let's move on to the next one.